What's up, everybody? Andy Herman here, back with another quick hits edition of the Pack-A-Day podcast. Today, breaking down the key takeaways from day 15 of Packers training camp. I cannot believe there's already been 15 training camp practices, and that next week is officially the end of training camp already. It goes by so insanely fast. Just as a reminder, always make sure to like, subscribe, comment, give those 5-star reviews. Of course, you can follow me at Andy Herman NFL over on Twitter, and you can follow the podcast at Pack-A-Day Podcast. Let's jump into today's content right away and give you everything that you need to know from a quick hit standpoint. First of all, injuries and transactions. There were some new players that were practicing and some players that were no longer on the roster. There were only 4 players, maybe most importantly, that were not practicing. Those 4 players: Edgerrin Cooper, Keyshawn Banks, Jarveon Howard, and Marshawn Lloyd. Now, obviously, 2 rookies here in Edgerrin Cooper and Marshawn Lloyd that you would very much like out on the field practicing, and you want all of them out there, Jarveon Howard and Keyshawn Banks as well. But at this point, August 14th, day 15 of training camp, having only 4 guys on the injury list, knock on wood, get your lucky rabbit's foot, do anything else you need to do to make sure that we're not jinxing anything here. But only 4 players on the injury report, not too bad. And I think the other key news, Quay Walker, he did not practice. He dropped out of practice, I should say, on Tuesday. He was back. Carrington Valentine, who has been out for a while with a hamstring injury, he was back in individual drills. And then Jacob Monk, who dropped out of practice on Tuesday, was back doing actually both individual and team drills as well. So great news on those returns, and only 4 players that were not practicing in some capacity. As far as I noticed, I did not see anyone drop out of practice. Malik Heath had a bit of an injury issue, but I think he just got hit in the wrong place, if you know what I mean. And it looked like he was fine. There was no trainer next to him or anything like that. That was the only quote unquote injury scare that I saw throughout the course of the day. So it seemed like he was going to be okay. And it seemed like Green Bay got out of another practice relatively healthy. From a transaction standpoint, we talked about the fact that they signed running back Nate McCrary. He was wearing number 30, by the way. And then linebacker Chris Russell, he was wearing number 47. But that meant that they had to release 2 players. I think a lot of people were expecting Alex Hale to potentially be one of those players as the 3rd kicker, and also sort of knowing that he had a really tough day at practice on Tuesday. That was not the case. Alex Hale was still there. Now, he did not do any kicking on Tuesday. We will go through the full update on the kicking battle on tomorrow's show. I should say he wasn't out there kicking on Wednesday, but we'll go through everything on tomorrow's show. But he was still on the roster. So Alex Hale did not get released, at least as of Wednesday's practice. The 2 players who were released were Peter Bowden, the long snapper from Wisconsin. Remember, he had been released earlier this offseason and now was released again after they had brought him back previously. And then Tyler Coyle, the safety, who actually thought had a decent preseason game. He was just stacked up against a safety room that, quite frankly, is completely unfair at the moment. When you have 4 lead pipe locks, right, in Xavier McKinney, Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, and Anthony Johnson Jr., a 5th guy, Katano Ladapo, who almost assuredly is not going anywhere, and you need to start getting more and more reps for him because of the time that he missed. Then you have Zane Anderson, who's done a nice job, and he needs reps, and he's just trying to compete to maybe be a special teams guy on this roster. Benny Sapp III, I think, only got 6 or 7 snaps. We just talked about that yesterday in the game. Like, there is just too many talented safeties on this roster, and while I thought Tyler Coyle played well, he, again, just there was really no opportunity, even from a practice squad standpoint, with the way that this safety depth chart is stacking up at the moment. All right, let's get into our non-transaction / injury report takeaways. The first one is, once again, Michael Pratt. And I get it. Again, I know backup quarterback, but this has been a pretty significant story, and there's a reason why I want to talk about this one. First of all, when asked about the number 2 quarterback position prior to the start of practice, Matt LaFleur mostly kind of punted on the discussion. He kind of imitated that Pratt has received some of the 2 reps in the past, although it hasn't been as noticeable. He did confirm that Pratt obviously got the number 2 reps in the 2-minute drill on Tuesday and said it would continue to be a competition. He said he thought that it would be Sean Clifford starting the game on Sunday, but he did leave that a little bit open. But it seems like Sean Clifford, for the most part, is still the de facto number 2 quarterback for now. It does feel like this is heating up a little bit, and it does feel like things are getting closer and closer between Clifford and Michael Pratt. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I thought Michael Pratt, low-key, had a really good day. Now, there's not going to be any 40-yard throws down the field. There's not going to be any big 2-minute drill wins for Michael Pratt. There's not going to be any of that. But he just connected. Like, I don't remember it. It maybe one happened when he was down with the 2s while we were watching the 1s. I don't remember him incompleting a pass on the entire day. Here was my notes from Michael Pratt for the day. He had a comeback throw to Malik Heath in the middle of the field, which was a bullet, really nice play. And I should very much clarify this. He had 2 incompletions, both of which were drops, but I can't remember him not hitting a receiver through the day is what I probably should say here. Then the next throw for him was over the middle to Samori Toure, where he hit him completely in stride. Toure had it, went to go and run, and right as he was ready to take that football move, the defender knocked it out of his hands, and it became an incomplete pass. But it was a perfect throw in stride from Michael Pratt to Samori Toure on that particular play. He then had a little bit of a rollout where he was trying to get it to Tyler Davis wide, and the defender was right there, and he dropped down sidearm and delivered a throw to Tyler Davis that was complete. Now, it did take Tyler Davis a little bit to get the ball, and he kind of took a tumble because it just was a little bit off balance. I think that was more of a Tyler Davis thing. I thought Pratt actually got it to him in a good spot, and Davis just kind of needs to stay on his feet there. But even still, just the fact that this was probably lending itself to a sack or an incompletion, and Pratt showed the ability to drop that arm angle, get that pass off and complete it. That to me was a win on that particular play. He then had a absolute dime to Bo Melton down the right sideline. Now, there was very good coverage on the play. I believe it was Kalen King that was in coverage on the play. And the ball gets tipped up. I believe it got tipped up by Bo Melton. Like, it looked like it kind of hit it. And then again, King is there contesting it, but Melton kind of tips it up. And then Melton almost comes down with it off of the tip. And then it just ends up falling incomplete and he goes out of bounds. But the throw was exactly where it needed to be. And I'd like personally, and you guys know I'm a big Melton guy, I would put this one on Melton, say, you got to find a way to come down with that ball because that was placed perfectly. And I think if he goes up, high points that, and comes down with it, like that to me is on the receiver. So that was a perfect throw down the right sideline. Then he comes back to Malik Heath and hits him in stride over the middle. That one was slightly behind Malik Heath, but not in a way that he couldn't continue running at full speed. He grabs it behind him. Heath made a great adjustment and a great catch on the play and then continued to run forward. There may have been a Malik Heath fumble on that one, and that was the one where, again, I think he ended up getting hit maybe in the wrong spot. But still a good completion for Michael Pratt. That was, again, within the scheme of the play. And, one of those classic Packers plays where it's a quick play action, get your head up and throw over the middle of the field. So hit Heath on that one and then fired to Bo Melton for another completion to end his day. And that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and what we just talked about is like 6 for 6 or what should have been 6 for 6 in that period. So again, it's not like we're talking about he went 14 of 15 for 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. It's just, this is what we've seen from Michael Pratt through the entirety of training camp and preseason so far. He is extremely accurate with the ball. He is not making mistakes. He's not turning the ball over. He's not taking sacks. He's just a gamer. And I just love the way that he is finding ways to move the ball downfield, to find completions, to keep his guys, in good situations and just taking care of the football and being efficient. And I've said this probably too many times already for Pratt. If he's doing this right now without a great grasp of the playbook, I cannot wait. And I cannot even imagine what this is going to look like when he does have a full grasp of the playbook. This has been a really impressive stretch here for Michael Pratt. And I know it's been from Matt LaFleur and Tom Clements and Adam Stenavich of, where Pratt is with everything and just kind of understanding the nuances of this offense. And I get there's probably a lot of things that they would like him to have, already down and understanding. And sometimes it takes time for young players. But even without that, he is being able to continue to move this offense in the right direction, be efficient, and make plays. And that ultimately is what the quarterback position comes down to. And I would imagine that the more and more that he gets invested and the more and more that he gets, just the knowledge base of this offense and goes through it and gets thrown into the fray, the more and more he's going to pick up just naturally. So I think that this is, to the point where this needs to be a much closer competition. It was another really great day for Pratt. Clifford had a mostly nondescript day, nothing really good, nothing really bad, just, kind of one of those days. And that was kind of the offense as a whole. We'll talk about the run defense a little bit more tomorrow. Run defense was phenomenal in this practice. Like, they couldn't find anywhere to run. Emmanuel Wilson had a couple nice runs. Josh Jacobs had one nice run, but overall run defense all over the place. And we'll go that in a lot more detail on Thursday's show. But overall, really nice day for Michael Pratt, and good day for the run defense, which again, we'll talk about tomorrow. Last but not least, Jaire Alexander did give up one big play in the red zone in one-on-one drills. It's a one-on-one. It doesn't matter a ton. Christian Watson got the best of him, came inside, had an easy completion against him in one-on-ones. Did also have a pass breakup versus Christian Watson in one-on-ones as well. So they split those 2 reps. Watson got one, Jaire got one, but had a great pass breakup on a fade to Romeo Doubs. Jaire was all over it in team activities, and he, again, broke on the ball, broke it away, and made sure that Doubs had no opportunity to catch it, which, if anyone has been paying attention to Romeo Doubs in the red zone, he's been a complete machine and has almost been like unstoppable in that area. So the fact that Jaire was able to break that play up, big play for him. And then later in practice, Preston Smith, almost immediate pressure on Jordan Love. Love throws one and you're watching it, and he throws it right to where Luke Musgrave is going. And it looks like Musgrave is going to be able to come down with the play. And like he was placing it right over a defender. And it's like, oh my goodness, what a throw by Jordan Love. Unfortunately for him, probably lofted it up there a little bit too much. He had to in order to get it to Musgrave to where he was going. But in that time that it was up in the air, Jaire breaks on the ball like a bullet, gets in front of Musgrave, high points the ball, picks off the pass, and comes up with a big interception along the sidelines. Makes sure to get both of his feet down and possession of the ball, and a huge pick for Jaire and the defense, which has been one of the huge keys of camp so far. Their propensity and ability to take away the football from Sean Clifford, from Jordan Love, just not Michael Pratt. I'll continue to say it. So huge day for Jaire, big pick, huge pass breakup in the red zone, and he just continues to look the part. Yes, he got beat on one-on-one, don't care at all. Other than that, and in every single team drill so far for basically the entirety of camp, he has been about as locked down as you can possibly imagine. To me, my, eyes, whatever you want to take that for, he looks like he's back in that all-pro version of Jaire Alexander and shutting down people in the passing game. Now, he'll need to continue that. He'll need to be an active member of run defense as well, and we'll see if he can be that all-pro player this upcoming season, but he looks locked in and fantastic so far in training camp. And then just really quick before I get out of here, unfortunate news in Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy will be out for the season. And then I don't have any update on this. This just came out not too long ago, but apparently Jordan Addison was also carted out of practice on Wednesday for the Vikings. It is raining crap there right now. Hopefully Jordan Addison is okay. Hopefully J.J. McCarthy bounces back next year. He had been fantastic in camp and had a really nice initial preseason performance. Losing your rookie QB for the year is a tough blow. It did look like Darnold was probably going to be the week 1 starter anyway. He will now be the starter for the entirety of 2024, barring injury, but a really tough series of events for the Minnesota Vikings. And we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow as well. That's going to do it for me right now. Appreciate you guys always tuning in. I'll be back here tomorrow with a full breakdown of day 15 of Packers practice. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.